What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you'll find out what the Fukushima's going on.
And aloha, America. Welcome to our show today. It is Wednesday, the 1st of July, 2020. We're into the new month. Independence Day, of course, coming up this weekend. We're going to be talking about that a little bit for the rest of the week here. It's an important holiday. It's our, we kicked out the British Day, or we started to kick out the British Day. And, it's kind of interesting watching this debate about the statues and watching Black Lives Matter and everything, where back in 1776, George Washington and Thomas Jefferson would have been considered the anti-government extremists of the day. But they handled their situation a little bit better than I think Black Lives Matter is doing right now, which I've mentioned. Okay, now we've all been talking about the Emancipation Memorial, which is the statue of Lincoln manumitting a slave in Washington, D.C. And it was the Lincoln Memorial up until the building of the big one down by the pond. So it's been a very contentious statue. It has come under controversy because of the fact that the black man is kneeling. And it's considered demeaning. But the history of the statue, of course, is a little bit more different. The statue was paid for by the freed slaves. Some of them sent in the very first money they ever owned as free men to support the building of the statue. It is a design that they were comfortable with in its day. And I think it's a slap in the face of all those freed slaves that people want to tear that statue down now. Okay, so here's where we are. There is an exact copy of that up in Boston, Massachusetts. And apparently the city council, the Boston Arts Commission rather, has voted to remove that statue. They're going to tear it down, take it away. I have a thought, and I'm the last person to draw a mustache on the Mona Lisa, but why not just remove the portion with the kneeling slave and leave Lincoln standing there with his hand outstretched? Maybe. Anyway, the descendant of Frederick Douglass is saying the Emancipation Memorial should stand. And this is coming from Kenneth B. Morris Jr. He's a descendant of Booker T. Washington and the great-great-great-grandson to Frederick Douglass. And he thinks the statue should stay. And it has to do with the history around it, which includes who paid for it. And the important speech his great-great-great-grandfather Frederick Douglass gave at the unveiling of the statue. I should leave it. I want to see these things left in place here. Apparently, though, down in Richmond, Virginia, Mayor LeVar Stoney has given the order to remove all Confederate statues. He made the statement, "It is time to put an end to the lost cause and to fully embrace the righteous cause." I wonder what he would have been saying in the American Revolution, that the revolution is a lost cause and the righteous cause is continuing enslavement to Britain. It depends on whether you win or lose on how history is going to view you. And I think this is a really good example. Now, apparently, Mayor Stoney, who's a black Democrat, has long advocated for all these statues' removal. But as I said yesterday, we have to keep history in mind in order that it does not repeat. When you look at the statue of Thomas Jefferson or whoever, and you remember all the good things they did, and then you say they owned slaves. How could people like this, moral, they thought of themselves as moral, people thought slavery was okay? Probably didn't help that there's passages in the Bible that say it's okay. But that I digress. When you look at the statue, inevitably, sooner or later, you're going to be looking at that question. And that's a good question to keep in mind. How can decent, moral people be convinced that slavery is okay? You tear down all the memorials and all the statues, that question goes away. And that opens the door to it happening all over again. Over in Scotland, Robert the Bruce's statue was vandalized by Black Lives Matter. Now, my history of Scotland is basically William Wallace and Mel Gibson, and that's about it. I'm really not up on Scottish history, but I don't think they had black slaves in Scotland back there in the year 1200. I don't think they did. So Robert the Bruce, of course, is famous for winning the first war of independence against England. Hey, he's my kind of guy. Scotland's version of George Washington. Anyway, it's been vandalized. The National Trust for Scotland has apologized to blacks for the medieval king's racism. Well, I know he didn't like the British, but that was fair. The British didn't like the Scots. As Longshanks used to say, the only problem with Scotland is it's full of Scots. Here's where people have really gotten messed up by this whole situation here. I was born in 1952. I refuse to feel guilty or to apologize for anything that happened before that time, or for that matter, to take credit for it. The example I always like to use is the fact that my ancestors ran a station on the Underground Railroad. I would have agreed with them had I been alive at the time, with the sensibilities that I have today. But I wasn't. And I cannot take credit for what they did, nor condemn things that they might have done that I wouldn't approve of. And we should all have that same attitude. I am responsible for my actions. I'm responsible for my thoughts and my opinions and my freedom of speech. And that's all I'm responsible for. I refuse to let you make me feel guilty about something that happened before any of us were alive. And yet that's exactly what this whole Black Lives Matter, tear down the monuments and statues is based on, making you people you never met and what they did. I want you to think about that a little bit. Let's get on over to this situation about Russia bribing the Taliban to kill Americans. Now, first of all, I have to wonder, why would Russia bother? The Taliban is perfectly eager to kill Americans any chance they get. And why would Russia risk an escalation? I know there's a lot of bad blood going back to when the Soviets got kicked out of Afghanistan, but that was a different country, the Soviet Union. So there was a big question mark over the story to begin with. Now, the Pentagon has come out denying Friday's report in the New York Times, saying there's no corroborating evidence that a Russian military unit put out bounties to terrorists who killed U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan. There is no evidence to support it. Now, Trump's national security advisor is saying that, yes, in fact, this claim that Russia was offering bounties for American lives was in the president's daily brief, but it wasn't presented to the president because it was unverified. We were talking about Joe Biden's presser yesterday and how he came across looking fairly good. I think I used the word surprisingly good. Well, it turns out that the entire event was completely scripted, that he had a list of the reporters he was going to call on in a particular order. They were going to ask him pre-planned questions to which he had the pre-planned answers. The whole thing was a stage presentation. And going back and re-looking at the presser, there's one point where Biden says, "Who am I supposed to go to next?" And Biden's basically admitted he had a list of reporters he was instructed to call on. It's all theater again. This really scares me, not because Biden might actually win this election, which I don't think is going to happen, but the fact that the entire Democratic Party put forward this guy as their candidate. And I keep thinking back to that story we covered, I think it was on Monday, where rumors are that Hillary Clinton is going to try and steal the convention. And I am absolutely not going to be happy until I know for certain this lady is out of public life. I don't want that person in the White House. It's got nothing to do with her gender, has nothing to do with her skin color, has nothing to do with her orientation. She's just a bad human being, and I do not want her in our White House. I wonder when Black Lives Matter is going to start screaming about the inherent racism in the White House. And for those of you who don't know, the reason it's white is after it got burned, and they rebuilt it, they just painted it white. The original executive mansion for this country was mostly blue, kind of a pale blue, almost Wedgwood blue, white trim. But it being wartime, all they had was whitewash, and that's what they put on the building, and that's why it got called the White House ever since. I saw a drawing of the original executive mansion, done in color. It was very spiffy looking. Anyway, Joe Biden snaps at a Fox News reporter and calls him a lying dog face after being asked if he's been tested for cognitive decline. He says he can't wait to compare cognitive ability with Trump at the Delaware rally. Oh boy, is that going to be good. Now, Biden claims he's constantly tested for cognitive decline. Oh, really? I'm not. I don't think you are. I think that's a very dangerous admission for him to come out and say he's being cognitively tested on a regular basis. There has to be a reason. Something to think about. All right, here we go. Joe Biden also came out with a comment, I'm going to follow the doc's orders. I will not hold any rallies. Every time he opens his mouth, he gives us another reason not to vote for him. If he's not healthy enough to go to a rally, he's not healthy enough to govern. He's not healthy enough to go and speak before the Congress. I'm getting really apprehensive about the Democratic convention. I really, really am. Biden holds a low-energy campaign event in Delaware, addresses a handful of people sitting in social distancing circles. He can't draw on the crowds the way that Trump can. Despite looking at his notes, Biden forgets the name of his hometown newspaper. And the Washington Post is trying to get ahead of what Rudy Giuliani says are far more damaging tapes of 2016 phone calls between former Vice President Joe Biden and former Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko, which are set for release over the summer by a former Ukrainian diplomat. Biden can't win. 40% of the voters already think he's in mental decline. Anyway, Biden says his running mate shortlist includes Asian and Latino as well as Black women, and that he's putting together a list of Black women he will nominate to the Supreme Court. Okay, Biden, you're being a racist here. They must be Black. They must be Black. That's racism. Doesn't matter what skin color you're talking about. It's still racism. You know who I want to see on the Supreme Court? I want to see people who know how to do the job, are very, very competent at figuring out whether things are constitutional or not. I want to see strict constitutionalists on that court, not more liberals who give us more of that liberal nonsense. We're getting more and more information about the backstory of General Flynn. Apparently, he was planning to audit John Brennan for running billions of dollars off the books. That's always been a big, big problem with the intelligence agencies, is they like to have money that they can spend that they don't have to justify to Congress. That's why the CIA got into drug running in the first place. Let's talk about COVID-19. A lot of states are starting to slow down their recovery, if you will. A lot of them are going back to closing bars and inside dining and various things like that. I think it's going to anger a lot of people about that. But apparently, Gilead came out with remdesivir, and the U.S. has basically bought nearly the entire supply. So Business Minister Nadhim Zahawi accuses Donald Trump of undermining the global fight against COVID-19 by buying almost the entire worldwide supply of remdesivir, only one of 2 National Health Service approved drugs. Another article, this one's coming out of Damagood.com. Herd immunity for COVID-19 may be closer than it seems according to a new model. So we won't need the vaccine or the cure after all. Los Angeles has ordered the closure of all beaches for July 4th weekend. The sheriff refuses to enforce the ban. So there's going to be some fights down there as well. And let's just look at a practical situation. Let's say the people don't go to the beaches. Where are they going to go? It's 4th of July weekend. They're not going to sit in their homes all weekend long. They're going to go somewhere. They're going to go to dinner parties. They're going to go to outdoor parties, backyard parties. They're going to go anywhere they can go to socialize with other people, watch whatever fireworks California still allows. And basically have fun. It's our midsummer celebration. It's a big deal. Anyway, Democrats accuse Trump of glorifying white supremacy by holding the 4th of July rally at Mount Rushmore in since deleted tweet. Okay, Native Americans are slamming the controversial monument. Well, yeah, I know it's 4 ex-presidents up there on that mountain. And unfortunately, they were white. Deal with it. Apparently, somebody's come up with a robot that cleans offices that uses shortwave UV light to kill coronavirus by rupturing its DNA. They're testing it in Bahrain, of all places, right now. And apparently, this will replace human workers because exposure to shortwave UV light is harmful over the long term here. Now, a lot of people are out there saying maybe the Democratic Party ought to change its name, because too many people know of the association of the Democratic Party with the KKK and the Jim Crow laws and its own history of extreme racism in the past. Now, Pelosi won't face it, but their own party's legacy of systemic racism makes it a prime candidate for the kind of historical purge they're all cheering on. So apparently a resolution put forward by the Republican Party of Connecticut is calling them on it. The resolution came the same day that a Christopher Columbus statue in the Nutmeg State's capital of Hartford was removed because, according to the Associated Press, critics portrayed him as a symbol of white supremacy. But as the Connecticut GOP's resolution made clear, as symbols of white supremacy go, Columbus had nothing on the American Democratic Party. All right, Seattle police are finally cracking down on the CHOP area. They've arrested more than a dozen people. And the mayor issued a 2 a.m. executive order to vacate the zone. Apparently, when they turned on her, she had a change of heart about allowing them to continue over there. So they're cleaning that out. High time, too, here. The Young Republicans are holding a rally to defend the Teddy Roosevelt statue at the New York City Museum of Natural History. That one is still very much in contention. I want to repeat something I said in yesterday's show, because I'm more and more convinced this is what's going on. We're seeing a lot of news that seems to be manufactured right here in the good old USA. Black Lives Matter, COVID-19, economic turmoil, so forth and so on. Meanwhile, we're seeing very little in the corporate media about what's going on in Syria or Afghanistan or any of these other places the United States has muddled in. I think the U.S. government wants to pull out of some of these wars, but they don't want the American people thinking about it. They don't want the American people saying, gee, did we lose another one? And I think all of this is just this major, major, major distraction. Anyway, independent journalist Michael Tracy has been traveling the country over the past few weeks looking at the wholesale destruction caused by Black Lives Matter riots. And looking at this myself, I'm saying, this could be the greatest period of mass rioting in the United States history, with all these simultaneous riots. That's why a lot of people were saying, are we courting a new civil war, where the descendants of the black slaves freed by the Union Army are going to start attacking the descendants of the Union Army? Ever stop to think about that? The black population seems to lump the descendants of the Confederacy together with the descendants of the Union and say they're all bad. Their lives don't matter compared to ours. An arrogant little thing to say. Anyway, Hong Kong has a great idea what to do to rioters. They go on out and they spray them with an indelible blue dye. Big fire hose just sprays all over the place here. And so they don't have to arrest them there on the spot. All right, we got to take a break from commercial. We'll be right back.
Did you know that you can be tracked and traced when you're online? With identity theft and cybercrimes on the rise, your passwords, your identity, and even your physical location can be revealed to complete strangers. Would you like to surf the internet anonymously and not have to worry about these threats? Well, now you can by visiting patriotinternet.com. For about $2 per month, patriotinternet.com will conceal your IP address and your physical location, allowing you to browse the web, send emails, and instant message anonymously. patriotinternet.com will bypass filters, block sites, and keyword blocking. You can also bypass logging by your router and your ISP. With patriotinternet.com, there is no software to install and uses 128-bit encryption for your protection. When using wireless hotspots, patriotinternet.com shields your information from identity thieves and is compatible with Windows, Mac, and Linux. Protect your identity and your freedom with anonymous internet access from patriotinternet.com. Visit patriotinternet.com today.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
We will not go down in the night without a fight. You can burn up our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight. Women and children alike.
Welcome back to our show here, and a reminder that Republic Broadcasting Network is in the middle of a perpetual fundraiser, and we really do need your help to go on doing what we're doing. And we hate to ask because we know these are economic hard times for everybody, not just for RBN. But we really are down to the point of having no choice but to continue to solicit your participation in what we're doing here. So the postal address to send a check, money order, or if you prefer anonymity cash, is Republic Broadcasting Network, 2251 Double Creek Drive, number 302, Round Rock, Texas, 78664. The phone number where you can make a credit or debit card donation is 800-724-2719, extension 3. The network thanks you. Okay, so we're talking about what's going on over in Hong Kong, where there's a great deal of rioting there with this new security law coming in from Beijing and everything. And what they do is they have this blue dye. It's indelible, and they simply drive up with a fire hose to the rioters, and they spray them. And then after the riot is over, the police can just go along the streets looking for anybody who's got the blue dye on them. They can't wash it off. It takes a long time to go away. Now, the only downside to this are people who just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time when the spraying starts, and how do we make sure that they don't get prosecuted at the same? But, you know, they can compare them with the videotapes. But I think it's a good idea. I mean, the dye is harmless other than being indelible, and, after a while, people know what the color means. And, oh my goodness, you've got blue all over you. You must have been downtown riding. Have you got any extra TV sets? Walmart has announced they will stop selling all merchandise featuring the logo All Lives Matter. I think they're being cowards here. Of course, we understand places of business that push All Lives Matter are being targeted. Still, I'm opposed. See, I'm a believer in that last statement. All lives matter. Black, white, brown, red, peach, taupe, mauve, born and unborn. And it's amazing that we're accused of racism when we say all lives matter. Anyway, Reddit has just banned 800,000 members of Trump supporters. Just erased them. I do hope that the Section 230 protections are removed from social media. What gave them this license to censor was basically this declaration that they're not actually the press. Therefore, they're not covered by the First Amendment. Therefore, the Supreme Court decision in the Washington Post and New York Times case wouldn't apply to them. And that those who are using social media are therefore dependent on their good graces for the message to go through. Right now, 99% of all online discussion goes through these giant social media companies. That is not the way the internet was designed to work. The internet was designed to work as peer-to-peer with no central servers so that it couldn't be censored. And in the years since then, it's been completely transformed into another information network under total government control. Now, I'm one of those people who are thinking that if the government is going to be using the internet to put out their propaganda, then it is, in fact, an institute of the press. And the Constitution and all applicable law, say that 3 times fast, applicable laws should apply. Now, there's a new social media company out there. I was calling it Parler because I didn't realize it was the French spelling for parler, which means to talk. And they've welcomed 1 million new users. People are flocking over there. I had a little trouble signing up for them, but I'm going to be taking a look at that. And yeah, we need social media that is truly social media and not approved social media. Because very little I do is approved by the U.S. government. Okay. There are rumors that we are going to see multiple Supreme Court retirements. And of course, we've been hearing about Clarence Thomas for a while, possibly stepping down. We've been talking about Ruth Bader Ginsburg possibly stepping down because of her health. And now apparently Alito is considering retirement. Well, if they were all to retire, wow, the entire complexion of the court could change. And this is one reason why I'm definitely going to support Trump in November, because he'll put conservatives on that court, constitutionalists. He won't pick out people just because they've got this skin color and this gender and this orientation, because whoever's going to be in the Oval Office for the next 4 years is probably going to get to pick 3 Supreme Court justices. And that will change the complexion of our laws for decades to come. Turning to the international news here. Oh, commercial break. It snuck up on me. We'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
It's happening, ladies and gentlemen. We here at RBN are working with Front Sight Firearms Training Institute to bring our audience the best in combat, tactical, and defensive firearms training. Whether you're a private citizen who is new to firearms or you have a concealed weapon permit and want a level of training that surpasses what you've received from your local gun range, Front Sight provides priceless education and skills taught by seasoned law enforcement, military, and private citizen instructors to levels that far exceed law enforcement and military standard. With nearly 1 million responsible citizens trained from every town, city, and state from across the United States, Front Sight has bolstered the Patriot movement to a whole new level. Contact Dan Sutterfield by phone at 573-762-2356 or 573-465-2356, or shoot him an email at domedan, DOMEDAN, at hotmail.com. This is a limited time opportunity. Don't miss it.
What would you say if I told you we have a new tool that will increase production and lower maintenance costs for your meat processing company? And it would pay for itself in just 6 weeks.
When pigs fly!
The new Ease Off Model EZ4 replaces old spring-style carcass droppers and is faster, safer, and more reliable. The Ease Off lowers or lifts 1,000 pounds to or from your rail automatically using our remote control.
Sounds expensive. Can I afford it?
Can you afford not to try the Ease Off? It installs fast with just 3 bolts in place of your current dropper. The effortless operation will reduce fatigue and injuries, speed up your line, eliminate downtime, and increase profit.
How can I order my Ease Off?
Go to easeoff.com, EAZEOFF.com, and hurry, because we are offering $200 off on the new EZ4 for a limited time. Easeoff.com. We make pigs fly. Cows too. Ease Off LLC, Summersville, Missouri, 417-932-6419.
What this country is coming to, I sure would like to know. If they don't do something by and by, the rich will live and the poor will die. Doggone, the panic is on. Can't get no way, can't draw no pay. Unemployment getting worse.
Welcome back to our show here. We're going to look at the international news now. And we're starting to see joint naval exercises between India and Japan. And they're holding the exercise in the Indian Ocean. They had some over this last weekend. And it suggests the two countries are drawing closer to each other to face a common threat from China. This according to analysts. Now, joint military exercises involving India and Japan are not uncommon. The latest activity comes amid tensions both are experiencing with Beijing. So when the big war comes, there's going to be a new war in the Pacific. When I lived in Hawaii, I used to go down to the Pearl Harbor Museum more or less on a regular basis, especially when would be people out of town. And I remember the submarine memorial, which they call on permanent patrol. It's all the submarines that went out that never came back. Anyway, I have a lot of respect for those sailors who sail in submarines, and I would not want to be in one during combat myself. Anyway, Israel has now sent a signal that the occupied West Bank annexation move is not imminent. A lot of people were expecting something to happen today, that Netanyahu was going to come out with a declaration, but apparently they're saying, no, we're not starting it today, and it's not going to be for a little while yet. It's it'll be down the road a little bit. Needless to say, there's a lot of protests all across Palestine. And the Palestinians say they're ready for direct talks with Israel. This is a counter to the U.S. peace plan, the deal of the century, which basically said Israel gets this and the Palestinians shut up. There's been a fresh complaint submitted to the International Criminal Court over the U.S.-Israel war crimes in Palestine. Now, there's an interesting development. This is economic news. Interesting development taking place down in Venezuela. Apparently, President Maduro has laid claim to $1.13 billion worth of Venezuela's gold stored there for safekeeping. And Maduro wants it to fund Caracas' COVID-19 pandemic response. But unfortunately, backed, meaning U.S.-chosen Guaido, is saying, I am the legitimate government of Venezuela, give me the gold. And so now it's gone to court, and a British judge is soon anticipated to rule in the case of who has the rightful claim to the $1.8 billion worth of Venezuelan gold stored in the Bank of England. The decision is expected in the next few days. Anyone care to speculate which way it's going to go? Anyway, Rubini is out there saying my prediction for a Great Depression is not about the single year 2020, but the entire decade of the 2020s. It looks like he's hedging his bets here. Although I don't think he's too far off the mark. It may not really hit until just after the first of the year, but everybody can look around and see the economy's in a tailspin. Bankruptcies are continuing to spike. 75 filings in the past 3 months among companies with at least $50 million in liabilities. This is the worst since 2009 and the second worst quarter ever. Okay, other news here. Let's go ahead and open the phone lines. For those who want to call on in. Taylor Swift is attacking the 2020 census for only listing 2 genders and saying that erasure was so upsetting. I'm sorry, Taylor, there are 2 genders and they're set in your DNA, male and female. Deal with it. Time to come back to the real world. Where's the Democratic National Headquarters? Fantasyland. All righty, this one I really don't like, and I realize that drunk driving is a big problem. It really is. But apparently the NHTCA is championing a bill called the Moving Forward Act, which will force car owners to breathe into a breathalyzer to start their vehicles. Which means you get in the car, and in addition to getting nagged to put on your seatbelt, you know, there'll be a little tube that you have to breathe in, and it has to pass that before the engine will start. I have a couple of problems with that. First of all, the number of hygiene products, mouthwashes and toothpaste that have slight amounts of alcohol in them, okay? There are certain medical conditions that literally generate alcohol inside your body. And what happens in an emergency where somebody who's maybe had a drink or 2 all of a sudden needs to get to the emergency room and they can't start their car? There are going to be lawsuits down the line with this one. And again, I know that drunk driving is a real problem, and I'd like to see something done about it. But subjecting us all to a breathalyzer to drive our car, I don't know. Harvey Weinstein is back in the news. His victims won a $19 million settlement in the civil case. Of course, the lawyers are going to get a big chunk of that, and Uncle Sam will take a big chunk of it. But it looks like they're going to come out sort of okay with, you know, a little bit of cash to play with, to assuage their guilt and their hurt. Okay, we're going to take a phone call now from Laura in Michigan. Hello, are you there, Laura?
Yep, I'm here. I'm here, Mike.
Okay.
I just wanted to ask everybody. On this Independence weekend to please read through the Declaration of Independence. They need to read it and see if there's anything in there that relates to today. For instance,
Absolutely.
I'm relating to the grievance that the British were inciting the savages to insurrection against the colonists. I think that sounds pretty much like today. Somebody's inciting the savages to insurrection against us. I bet everybody can find something in there that relates to today.
Yes. In fact, I have an article
I'd
I
like to
wrote
see
about that a
everyone-
few years ago. I'm going to get that recycled.
That's just pretty much what I wanted to say. I just want to make everybody read through it. We've
I
done
agree
that
with that
every
one.
year on 4th of July.
I agree with that. Everybody should
Thank
read the
you.
Declaration of Independence on the 4th of July and remember what it stands for and the reason all of those revolutionaries
Exactly.
fought so hard, you know, to make this a free country.
Exactly. That's right.
Anything else, Laura?
Oh, that's it. Thanks, Mike.
All right, thanks. We're going to switch over to Arjun in New Jersey. Hello, Arjun. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind? Arjun, are you there? Okay, Arjun seems to have dropped, so we're going to switch over to Don in Arizona. Is Don in Arizona there? Also dropped. Okay, we seem to be having some issues with our phones today. It's no doubt that giant mutant hamster in the wire cage that powers all of this. All righty, so getting on back to some of the, Arjun is back. Arjun in New Jersey, hello. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike. Thank you, Mike. So I wanted to talk about race today, and I'm not white, and I've been here like many years,
No.
but I have never felt any racial problems here in this country, and I only see that it's only like there are many different races that live in this country, like Mexicans, like Spanish people, Chinese, Indians, and many different races. I never see anyone complain about race issue other than African Americans.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, and like I used to drive like Uber, and if you forget about the whole country, Uber and Lyft, and if you forget about the whole country, like only people that produce problem in my car, they were only African American people that produced actually problems in my car. Everyone else was just fine. So I just wanted to say that. And yesterday you mentioned a thing about TikTok. There's this app called TikTok, and it has security issues.
Yes.
It's actually a Chinese app, and what it does, like for example, your different apps in your phone, they don't have permission to get your location information. But like TikTok is built in China, and it has like when you go somewhere, it can talk to the Google Maps, and it can get your location, and it can turn on your cameras, and it can listen to what you're saying. So I mean, like, so that's why, like in all these apps that are actually coming from China, you have to be careful, like just when you install them, because it's like a sort of a privacy issues, and they can actually go into your financials also. So for example, if you have your bank accounts, they can steal that data very easily. So if you put like your bank accounts, so you have to be careful there. Plus, on top of it, now there are lots of hardware problems. Like the hardware is made in China. So right now, US is banning like few different companies which are like from China. So in the hardware, they put this malware. So I mean, like, so you have to be careful. And all these things are blocked. Like if it's like a security threat, like in military and all, every other place, like these things are blocked. But that's all I have today, Mike.
Well, I sort of treat my iPad, my iPhone as tolerated but hostile guests in my home. And I don't keep banking information or credit card information on those devices at all to begin with. And so that way I'm able to go out in public without stressing out as somebody, ripping off my credit card number. I'll tell you, the only problem we ever had was with a radio-enabled credit card, where somebody was just snarfing numbers at the shopping center, and my wife got caught on that one time. But, you really should not be using these portable electronic devices for your banking details, because they are so easy to get inside. Once you're down at that application level, you can do pretty much anything you want with that operating system.
Exactly. My father, he was like more old school, and he never took like any ATM card or credit card. He always wrote checks, and if he had to get money, he will go physically to the bank and get the money, and he never got any credit cards.
Yeah, that's one way to go, definitely. I mean, I prefer cash over plastic for that very reason. And but I don't know, maybe I'm turning into a Luddite in my old age. But like I said, I find these devices useful, but only up to a certain point. Anyway, Arjun, we're going to let you go here. We're going to switch over to Joe in Alaska. Hello, Joe. What's on your mind today?
Yeah, I was having a hard time hearing. Let me take you off of the speakerphone here.
Okay.
Shoot. Okay. At any rate, I wanted to talk about World Trade Center 7.
Yes.
The PBS special that's going to be running for 3 months. I'm not sure when it comes out. I don't have PBS or cable TV, but I found it interesting to note that Alaskans were more than happy to ignore this study until this PBS special was announced.
Yes.
The upshot, apparently, from my point of view, is they fired the president of UAF.
Yep.
And but yeah, I got the study printed out and bound into a book, and I've got all the salient websites that will back up the study. And the city council here is trying to paint me as a homophobe now because they can't argue with what I'm saying. You know, they don't want to even go there about World Trade Center 7. So they're just going to ignore me. Yeah, I'm a homophobe. Anyway, maybe I should take up that issue because I was molested in the Catholic Church when I was 12. Yeah, I think I mentioned that before. At any rate, I just thought I'd let you know Alaska is firmly in the grip of the military-industrial pharmaceutical complex. And they're going to build a new Arctic strategic port here in Nome, and all the freakos, all the flag-waving ex-Marines that are generally felons out here because this is where they go when they can no longer be accepted in normal society because as the former mayor who died in office of the flu here last month, he spouts, well, Nome is a place where you get a second chance. Well, maybe so. Maybe a third and a fourth and a fifth chance. We've had 4 deaths at the correctional facility here. Why? Oh, probably because they were about to spill the beans on the rest of these criminals. But yeah, we don't need to bring up Ted Stevens and all that mess. Anyway, I just thought I'd let you know where Alaska's at. And you have a nice day. Thanks.
Right. Thanks an awful lot. I would speculate that if Alaska really were firmly in the grip of the military-industrial deep state complex, and they were buying the official WTC 7 story, that you wouldn't have PBS making this special and running it for 3 months. I think they're just trying to overwhelm people by just keeping the propaganda going forever and ever and ever and ever. But I think most people know there was something wanky about that whole 9/11 situation. Okay, we're going to switch over to Don in Arizona. Don, I'm probably going to have to take you through the commercial break. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about masks, Mike. I've only had to wear a mask one time so far, and I pretty much had to. Remember about 2 or 3 months ago, I made an offer. If somebody give me $50,000 for my condo, I'd give you $500. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, nobody took me up on that from your listeners, but I finally did sell it, and I had to go to the closing. I had to go to the title office. You know, I walked in. They said, "Do you have a mask?" No. I don't have a mask. And I never made an agreement. They're working for me in the first place. I paid them, closing costs. Okay, so she said, then I walked in without a mask, sat down, so I was getting my germs, whatever they were afraid of in my breath or whatever. And then this lady comes in to have me sign the papers, and she said, well, it's our customer policy. You have to wear a mask. And I said, what if I don't? Well, you're going to have to, we could send a notary to you. You know, this is all so ridiculous. I was already in there.
Yeah.
I didn't want to wear a mask. And she was just forcing me to bend to her will and the will of whoever runs her, you know, title company. And my choice was if I said no, the deal might have gone south. It's possible the deal would have not worked, you know, because they're ready to close right now. And
Okay,
it's possible,
Don, I got to put you on hold. Put you on hold. We'll take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The Republic Broadcasting Network late night premiere show The Red Pill Hardcore is hosted by activists that want to hear from you, the listeners. So that you can get involved in the activism, please call in at 800-313-9443 at 10 p.m. to enter the discussion. To book yourself as a guest, call our studio at 202-657-5715 or contact RBN staff. Remember, keep it real and take the red pill.
Did you know that you can be tracked and traced when you're online? With identity theft and cybercrimes on the rise, your passwords, your identity, and even your physical location can be revealed to complete strangers. Would you like to surf the internet anonymously and not have to worry about these threats? Well, now you can by visiting patriotinternet.com. For about $2 per month, patriotinternet.com will conceal your IP address and your physical location, allowing you to browse the web, send emails, and instant message anonymously. patriotinternet.com will bypass filters, block sites, and keyword blocking. You can also bypass logging by your router and your ISP. With patriotinternet.com, there is no software to install and uses 128-bit encryption for your protection. When using wireless hotspots, patriotinternet.com shields your information from identity thieves and is compatible with Windows, Mac, and Linux. Protect your identity and your freedom with anonymous internet access from patriotinternet.com. Visit patriotinternet.com today.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Extendovite really works. Here are some reviews from Amazon.com. Amazon customer, 5 out of 5 stars. I'm quite happy about it. This product has relieved what appears to be an angina problem, pain in the chest after climbing stairs, and short on breath. I'm quite happy about it. Dr. Sam Surreal. Good product and ingredients. Kept my blood pressure normal after mild heart attack in 2015. Switched to plant-based diet, also to reverse atherosclerosis. John Bispicos, 5 out of 5 stars. Built up my immune system. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Some are maxed out all their credit cards. Some are working 2 jobs and living in cars. Minimum wage won't pay for a roof, won't pay for a drink. If you gotta have proof, just try it yourself, Mr. CEO. See how far $5.15 an hour will go. Take a part-time job at one of your stores. I bet you can't make it here anymore.
Welcome back to our show here. We're talking with Don in Arizona, and we're talking about how he's in the title office trying to close the sale of his condo, and he's getting a ration of Excelsior from the lady there over the fact that he's not wearing a mask. So, Don, take it up where you left off.
Bottom line was, it would have cost me, at least I know they would have charged me more money to send a notary to me, is what you said.
Yes.
which was ridiculous. I mean, as far as that goes, we could have walked right out to my car and she wouldn't have had to breathe my air anymore. And they hand it. That's what they do with some of these deals. They just hand it back and forth through the windshield. But okay, finally, and another thing, I've been trying to sell this thing for a long time. I've had trouble trying to sell it, and I had to sell it. Here it was right now. There's a lot of money at stake, so this was the only reason I went ahead and I only put it over my mouth, not my nose. I don't believe in masks, Mike.
Yep.
There's people like Dustin. He thinks he's a hero. They convince him on TV. They tell Dustin he's a hero for wearing a mask and being and I was watching Ron Paul today, and he was explaining it. Well, these people think they're good citizens. This is the way they look at it. They want to be good citizens. It's cognitive dissonance. They don't want to not believe in the government. But there was a guy. There was a video that went by. I guess it went viral. I don't know. He said it went viral. There was a video of this guy in Ventura, California, talking to the county, and he went in. He was a journalist. His name was Ziegler, I believe. But he gave a 2-minute talk there, and his main line was he wanted to talk about why they went back and forth between masks. Mask is good, mask is bad, and everybody's been doing that. Even Fauci has said different things about masks. One time he said it's just a symbol, but which it is. That's just a symbol. It doesn't do any good as far as this cold virus. But his main line was, in an effort to prevent all death, you have now ended all relevant life. This is the important thing. In the first place, they can't prevent death. It's stupid. You cannot prevent death. It's incredible. They're going to prevent all death, and a lot of people are afraid of death. This is what gets them. They're afraid of death. They think by wearing their mask.
I'm not afraid of death. It's that part of having to stay dead that bothers me.
All right. Okay, but you have ended all relevant life, which they've done. They say what they're saying is you can't live. What is life? Life is sports. Life is singing and playing music and
life
looking
is
at people and smiling. You can't even smile if everybody's wearing a mask. They've ended all relevant life. There's no sports. There's no music. No live music. They tried to end. A lot of people live and die with sports.
Yes.
Either participating sports or and by telling Dustin he's a hero for believing in this malarkey, then that's how they get away with it. And but that's all I had to say, Mike. Thanks.
All right. Well, good, because we need to take a break for station identification. We'll be back with more phone calls after these few words.
Extendivite really works. Here are some reviews from Amazon.com. John Hess, 5 out of 5 stars. Awesome. Probably my only review, but at age 40, I was getting bad heart throb and left arm pain, mainly before bed. I even stopped smoking and drinking sodas for a month, and that didn't work. After one day of taking Extendivite, it was gone and hasn't returned in 3 years. I've ordered Extendivite 13 times, so Amazon just said. Juliet Hordick. I've ordered this product before in liquid form. It is fantastic. My whole family's been on it. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
This is RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. The history the government hopes you never learn. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
Welcome back to our program. Hour number 2. We're going to go back to the phones to Peter in California. Aloha, Peter. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Hi, Mike. I got two topics, actually. One is relates to what you were saying about losing the wars and a distraction and so on. I'm not sure about the distraction, although, I think it's more just the death of the country, but we definitely are losing the wars.
Yes.
They definitely do want to keep that as silent and on the down low as they possibly can. We have moved 9,500 troops apparently from Germany to Poland, which is even more of a provocation to Russia. It's also probably a little cheaper to house them there.
Yeah.
But it's more of a provocation. I think you referred to India and China running naval drills.
Yes. India and Japan. India and Japan.
Yeah, India and Japan. Well, of course, in any scenario, of course, nobody would ever get involved with a land war in Asia. But the way to go against the Chinese is the way we did it in the past, where you have all these islands, like a necklace of islands off of China's east coast, from the Kuriles all the way to Japan, to the Philippines, Taiwan, Indonesia, that can be blocked from keeping their navy into the open ocean. And Japan is obviously key to that. And it's also sort of a two-front situation, both for Japan and India, that China, if she tries to threaten one, would have to threaten, contend with, another front, perhaps 3,000-4,000 miles away.
Yes.
But it's also, I think it manifests Japan's lack of confidence in the U.S. deterrent. That before, they've never felt it necessary to exercise with India alone and have some sort of bilateral relationship. But apparently now they do, with the U.S. Navy hobbled, with us. We're about to enter into horrible budgetary crisis that will make it improbable that we could sail all of our carrier battle groups, targets that they are, and deploy them. But it's a lack of confidence in what American military can and will be able to do. And what we're saying, just like when the Roman Empire fell, and all the security arrangements all around the world, all the alliances, all the internecine politics that rely upon those the alliance underpinnings, they're all shifting, and the trade things are shifting, the military balances are shifting. It's a fundamental realignment of the entire world security and economic architecture, really. But that's not even the primary reason I'm calling, Mike. If I could, I sent you an article where the New York Times has decided that it will go on capitalizing the word black.
Yes.
Or go on capitalizing the word Latino or Asian, but they will not capitalize the word white. And that just again is just another reason we're not allowed to have any identity whatsoever.
Well, my question for the New York Times would be: are they going to capitalize the word British, or French, or German, or Italian? Because white is a collective term that embodies several different ethnic groups, whereas blacks, Latinos, and so forth are specific subcultures within the larger culture. So
there's Caribbean blacks, there's Asian blacks, there's Brazilian blacks, there's blacks from the Congo and blacks from Somalia. There's all sorts of different. And so the same thing should apply, Mike.
Well, you're right about that. You know, we've got Black Americans, we've got Hispanic Americans, but if you say you're a white American, you're a white supremacist.
And this Friday, and I saw this play when it came to Los Angeles a couple of years ago. They had the Hamilton, the show Hamilton.
Yes.
Which is primarily a black cast, and I remember seeing it and being taken aback that Hamilton and Jefferson and Washington and virtually all the other major characters were portrayed by blacks. Now you could have a white woman opening up a Mexican food restaurant in Oregon and gets hit with cultural appropriation charges, and yet we have this going on. And now they have the statue toppling and Mount Rushmore and all that other thing, and it seems so. If I were to write a one-man show, Mike, on Martin Luther King, right, and portray Martin Luther King as a white guy portraying Martin Luther King, or Malcolm X, let's say, imagine the outcry. But here it is. It's okay, and even James Bond is now going to be a black woman. I mean, it doesn't get much more branded British than James Bond.
This is very hypocritical, because every time you have a white actor playing an ethnic character, everybody screams, oh, it should have been a black actor, it should have been a Hispanic actor. And yet you have this show Hamilton, where people that we know were white are being portrayed by colored actors. And look at all the voice actors who've had to quit these various animated shows because they're white people playing voices for non-white characters and saying, well, we're going to step down and everything. But it's a double standard because it's not being applied fairly in both directions.
And for years, Mike, black people use that as a weapon to wedge their way into more roles.
Yes.
And now that they're there, like I say, all those rules don't apply. And where Washington and Jefferson and Hamilton get their statues torn down, they're still collecting money, that black cast, on portraying them.
Yes.
And I just wish it would stop. And I would consider it insulting, and I would never really consider portraying Martin Luther King in a one-person show. That would be insulting. But it's equally insulting to me about Washington, Jefferson, Lincoln, whoever, Eisenhower, so they're making them all bad guys unless they're portrayed by ethnic actors. It's interesting to point that out. So.
Yeah. I'm a little thrown by this James Bond one. I mean, every time they've taken a traditional male character and recast them as female, it's been a less than successful box office. The new Ghostbusters being a prime example. And there's nothing wrong with the cast. They're all very talented women, but they are women. And they just tried to regurgitate the original script, and it bombed at the box office.
Yeah, and I have nothing against a non-white actor playing a role that is not clearly defined as white. But when you have a historical
that's
character,
exactly right. That's exactly right. I mean, I'm a big James Bond fan. I love the gadgets. If I could be anybody in a movie, I would have been Q. But the little screwdrivers and all the rest of that stuff. And if they wanted to do a movie about a black female secret agent, I would be interested in seeing it. But I don't want to see a black female James Bond, because I've already got this image of James Bond, in my head, built up of a composite of Sean Connery all the way up to whoever's playing it today. Blanking on the name.
It's a studied attempt at appropriation. It's a studied attempt at doing that. And why not have a superhero like, what was that one that they just had, or whatever? Come up with, Shaft or something. That's fine.
Yes.
But come on, it's just. I mean, what's theirs is theirs, and what's ours is theirs.
You know what I think is a good example of casting in movies? Do you remember the Predator movies?
Sure.
Okay. The second one that was being made, not the one with Schwarzenegger, but the sequel. had a black lead on that, and then there was the Lethal Weapon series.
Right.
We had Danny Glover was out there. I mean, there's lots of roles out there. But this idea of coming on in and saying, we're going to recast Lincoln, Washington, Jefferson, and whoever else, as black people, how does that give us insight into what actually happened back there in 1776?
And by the way, Mike, there used to be, I used to hear complaints all the time about how the American ideal of beauty and all that was blonde. You only saw blonde. And, they were right about that. For years, that's all you ever saw. But if you look at advertising right now, it's dominated by black people.
Yes.
Now, it kind of flies in the face of marketing realism. They're not the biggest ethnic group, by the way, by far. They don't have the most money, by far. And yet, here we have that as really kind of being foisted on us. I have nothing against anybody in the roles, but they used to complain about it all the time. And now when it's virtually reversed, and I challenge people to look and see how many people and how many products are that way. And you got to ask yourself why that is. Again, 13% of the population versus 62, much higher income and education average, and yet still, we're being ignored as a market segment even.
Yeah, we are. Another thing that bothers me about modern advertising, and I spent a lot of time in advertising in my early CGI years, is how many commercials are always coming out where the man is portrayed as kind of a goofball and ignorant and doesn't know anything, but the woman next to him is smart and has all the answers. And I'm not saying there aren't smart women, but it seems like rather than balance between the two, that it's sort of shifted the other way from what it was back in, say, the 1950s and 1960s, when it was the man who always had the answers.
Well, and I will also tell you that when there's a black male portrayed, as often as not, he's portrayed as an idiot.
Yeah.
White male, he's someone that's to be sort of mildly laughed at, or the butt of the commercial, or whatever. And that's very widespread. It's very subtle. And again, we go back to who controls all that? Who controls that whole narrative?
Yes.
And it's the same people that I keep talking about, everybody. It's the same people. So, but that's a shift that you can generally see, and hopefully people will notice it now if they haven't already. And just keep an eye open. Just like the fact that you'll never see a Jewish bad guy. There's never an Israeli bad guy. There's never a Jewish bad guy.
Wait a minute. I mean, the movie's about Mayor Lansky during the gangster era. Tony Curtis, I think, did a fabulous job on that one. Okay, it's rare. I will grant you it's rare.
About Bugsy Siegel, but Bugsy Siegel was portrayed as a hero by Warren Beatty, and they're not portrayed like the scheming murderers that they were. They're glamorized.
Yes. Well, you have to go back to the Godfather saga for that kind of glamour. Yeah, I mean, Coppola made the mobster families look sympathetic. Where you're sitting there and saying, well, yeah, maybe they're doing prostitution and drugs and extortion and the rest of it, but gee, they're just regular folks. I'd like to be at that party.
Yeah, it's
only because I like Italian food.
It's just another mile marker on the road to South Africa, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. We're headed that way.
So that's it for me, Mike. Thanks so much again.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Jason in Arizona. Jason, thank you for waiting. What's on your mind?
Hey, thank you, Michael. You'd mentioned the breathalyzers earlier. Just 2 quick points. I knew a guy years ago that had it in his car, and he was not doing mouthwash or anything because he knows that it would fit. It still failed him anyway. So he started having his young son come out to start it, and it worked for a while, but it failed him too. So you have to pay a private, I know. Yeah, you have to pay a private company for it to be in there. Every time you fail, the judge puts 2 more months on. So I think it might be a purposely designed flaw. So how does that work when it's in everybody's car? And also, it's not a tubuloin for the new regulations. It's going to be part of the steering column, so it catches ambient breath the whole time you're driving.
Oh, and I just had the car detailed. There's going to be alcohol floating all around there.
Yeah, I know. So they say that the way the air circulates, it only catches the driver, but I don't buy that for one second. I think it's just another. I think it's just another way to. They're obviously trying to get rid of all cars for Agenda 2030 and everything. So I think it's just another attack on that.
Well, there's going to be a use for those COVID.
Yeah.
Keep your breath inside your body. The car won't detect anything.
Yeah. Sorry. You're cutting out on me, so I'm going to let you go. Have a good day, Michael.
All right. Thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Bobby in Florida. Hello, Bobby. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Can you hear?
I can hear you. You're on the air.
Okay. Well, a lot of stuff's been talking about, you know about the Frankfurt School in Germany going back in the 30s.
Yeah.
It's just the same playbook. They were studying this stuff they've been planning this for years. And you see it unfold. And like I was talking to you, I've analyzed this thing. You have the Christian right. You have the Zionists on the religious right. You have them, and then you have the same thing going on, and you wonder why. I wonder why nothing's being done. Why aren't they stopping this? They could stop this in 10 minutes. A truckload of guys come out with rubber bullets, real bullets, whatever, and they're going to take off running. I know I'm going to take off running. If I was doing that, I wouldn't do that sort of thing. But why aren't they stopping it? They're letting this happen.
Yes.
And you got to ask, why are they letting this happen? Because they're all in on it. All of them. You can't. I'm sorry. They're all in on it. They've got to be, because this would not be going on 30, 40 years ago. This sort of thing wouldn't happen. And I was worried more about contact tracing and them coming to my house and giving me a shot a little over a month ago. I talked to you about that. Now you got to worry about people coming in your yard or whatever.
Yeah. And if you're trying to defend your home with legal weapons, you get in trouble that way.
Right. So this is all planned out. It's amazing how this has been. If you really look into the whole thing, you've got to look into history and play around with and look at all that. And it's all really done by design. I am a musician. I talked to you last week, and I did get to go play, and amazingly, a lot of people showed up, and people are starving for live music. And we did good. We got paid good, and I guess no one wore a mask. It was like a restaurant type of bar.
Yeah.
And people were line dancing, and they were enjoying it. And I actually walked into Walmart without a mask. I tried to, because I forgot mine. And the old lady said, "Oh, go ahead." And I went to buy a box, but they wanted $20 for 17 little paper masks. So I bought another kind. And there's a store around here. I guess it's an Indian fella running it. And it's like a mask-free zone, man. People going in and out without a mask. So that was nice. You didn't have to wear a mask in there.
Yeah.
Goes, "No, I got this big plate glass. You're fine." So that was nice. But you're not going to stop people from having fun. We can be creative.
Yes.
There'll be parties in people's yards. You're not going to stop that.
Nope.
I'll let you go, Mike. Oh, I didn't want to bring up this. A lot of people don't know this, that the early Christians that came here were communists. They practiced communism, and they saw it didn't work.
Yes.
I heard that from Paul Harvey a long time ago. Yeah. So communism, slavery, that's all in the book. And I don't want to start no war with that. But anyway, I'll let you go, Mike.
All right. Thanks an awful lot. And we're coming up now on a commercial break. We've got more callers waiting, and I thank you all for waiting patiently. And we'll start taking more phone calls as soon as we come back from these words from our sponsors.
Yeah.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
As a listener of RBN, you're surely concerned about being informed and being ready for whatever may come. Please consider the following questionnaire as a soul-jarring wake-up call. If you answer no to more than 2 of these following questions, you probably aren't going to make it through any major disruption in our country. The questions were compiled by people that have been there. Are you really ready? Do you own your own firearm for the primary defense and protection of you and your loved ones? Have you ever been professionally trained to stand against life-threatening behavior? Have you ever practiced enough to fire 500 rounds during a 2 to 4 day time frame, day and night? Can you load, unload, fire, and clear a jam in total darkness? Have all the adults in your household been professionally trained? Are you, life and death, comfortable with your abilities with pistol, revolver, shotgun, and rifle? Are you aware that everything that you do to prepare for an emergency is a waste of time, money, and energy? If you haven't honed your abilities to their highest level to protect and keep what you have, do you have the repair parts that will most likely be needed for each of your firearm, and do you have the ability to install those parts? Could you completely clean every firearm you own? Are you aware that your body won't go where your mind hasn't been? In other words, without proper training, followed by regular practice, you probably will not win a gunfight. Well, how did you measure up? Take the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to start correcting your deficiencies by receiving your Commander Lifetime Membership with Front Sight Firearms Training Facility. A one-time donation to RBN for $500 will give you a Commander Lifetime Membership at Front Sight as a tremendously huge thank you bonus. See details on RBN's webpage to make it happen. The clock is ticking. You had better be ready before it happens.
We will not go down in the night without a fight. You can burn up our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight. Women and children.
Welcome back to our show here. We're going to go right back to the phones here to Mark in North Carolina. Hello, Mark. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
How you doing, Mike? Hey, Mike, I got a funny story for today.
Okay.
What happened to me is concerning like masks and all that. You know, the imbecile governor of the state has put out a mask for public, right?
Yes.
And unfortunately, the county I live in also, before that, put in a mask order. But for the most part, they're both being ignored, which is a very hopeful sign, you know, that people are rebelling.
Yes.
So I went to the supermarket today. I went in first. I said, look, do I have to wear a mask to go in there? Because, you know, I wasn't going to go in, right?
Yeah.
No, you don't have to. Don't worry about it, right? So I go and buy a couple of things, right? And I go out to pay. And, you know, I pay always, since the contact tracing, everything I do is cash.
Yeah.
Everything. Other than going to the gas station where I use my card, I use everything cash, right?
Right.
I go to pay the lady at the cash register, right? Kind of older black lady. And she says, you know, I said, do you want me to stand behind here when I give it? Oh, if you give me cash, don't worry about it, right?
Yeah.
She sees wearing her mask like half-assed. I said, yeah, I know. I'm glad you don't expect everybody to wear a mask here. Yeah, but unfortunately, we have to wear them. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's disgusting. I know it's not healthy for you or anything. Oh, yeah. And she goes into this thing. But and then she said something funny. I mean, it's not really funny, but, you know, being that the mentality, unfortunately, going around parts of the country, parts of the population, she says, and she wasn't kidding. Because I'll bet you Russia's behind this, too. Okay. You know, I just saw Putin today on, YouTube. He was at some, on RT actually, and he was actually, voting, on a new constitutional amendment they have there in Russia.
Oh, and he won that one,
right?
He won that one. He's going to be, he's going to be president of Russia until 2036.
Well, I don't know if he's going to run again. I just think he's got the. He might. The guy's healthy, man. That's why he's not worried about a mask, right? He's about 70 years old, and he's he probably could take most of the world leaders, most of the other world leaders, 3 or 4 at a time in a judo ring, without a problem, including Trump and whoever else Trump's running against, But he's but funny. He's wearing. So I said, yeah, he wasn't wearing a mask. She just what I said. He's behind it. She wasn't kidding either. But anyway, I am glad though people are not obeying these mask rules for the most part.
Yeah.
There are some stores that do, and police aren't enforcing it either. I guess they know better. They got enough problems to do. There's a lot of hostility around today. They don't need that too. So that's a good thing. Now I just wish Trump would get it through his thick head and get rid of Fauci, get rid of the 2 quacks there that he's got advising him. Get somebody like a Dr. Rashid Buttar and maybe and Dr. Shiva and maybe a couple other people. Maybe that guy Erickson there in California. And get them as the advisors. Then open up the country and tell the states, look, you don't want to open up your states? You know what we're going to do? We're going to cut off all federal aid. All federal aid, every dime. Okay, so you better open up and you better open up quick. Get this thing over with already. This is everything. I'm getting to the point. There's so much cheating going on with these so-called cases.
Yeah,
you're getting somebody with a runny nose now and saying he's got the coronavirus. I was just out there mowing for about 2 hours earlier, right? In the heat.
Yeah.
All that dry, everything. That was making me sneeze a couple of times. I bet you if I had some Karen around there, I'd have a drone coming for me to take me to a hospital or something. You're saying I had coronavirus, I mean, it's ridiculous. Unfortunately,
it really is.
You don't have to go wear a mask. Unfortunately, there's plenty of Karens and hypochondriacs around here that still wear them. And I still see what really gets me. You see people on the street, with fresh air and all that, and still having a mask. And even the worst part is when you see somebody in a car with a mask on driving. I mean, now that is a danger because that's a danger to everybody. Because if this clown passes out, he can kill innocent people. He's not just going to kill himself, but he can kill innocent people with if he passes out there in a car. So
yeah,
it's ridiculous. And Dustin, I hope you call back. Call in. I want to see if you have something to tell me again. Say again. Tell me how it's just like walking into a coal mine or something like that, or some other nonsense like that. And you know what, Dustin? Why don't you put on a spacesuit? That might do you some good. Okay? And you really don't have to worry about anything. All right? Go to the supermarket or wherever you go and go in a spacesuit. People are getting smarter than this, Mike. We've got to get our country back. Trump's got to do something. I was listening to John Rappaport earlier. I wish you'd have him on your show, by the way. The guy is great. He says that...
All right. Well, Mark, I got to let you go. We got to take another break for commercials. We've got more callers waiting on the line, and we'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, the number 2, keep it today.
This is too good to be true, except this time it is real. 100%. No joke. How about a $25,000 membership to Front Sight Firearms Training Facility as a thank you bonus for a one-time donation to RBN of only $500? It is a Commander lifetime membership with no yearly fees or dues. The training is free for the rest of your life with over 50 different classes. Then leave it to your designated beneficiary. You provide the approved firearm, holster, ammo, eye, and ear protection. Many features and bonuses are included, more than you would ever expect or believe. This is the ultimate graduation present, wedding gift, etc., etc. See the details. Go to RBN's webpage and frontsight.com to make it happen. You will hear this offer only on this radio network. Help keep RBN alive. Tell 5.
Extend your life with Extendovite, a 7-herb combination made from garlic, cayenne, bilberry, hawthorn, ginkgo biloba, valerian, and milk thistle. Each herb was chosen for their abilities to help improve irregular heartbeats, chest pain, lower cholesterol, as well as normalize blood pressure and clean and strengthen arteries, plus much, much more. Doctors have taken people off of some or all of their pills just because they believe their patients got better while taking Extendovite. Get the dependability of Extendovite. Just see how you feel in 6 months. A 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid is only $69.95 plus shipping and handling. Call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. We're going to go back to the phones, pardon me, to Don in New York. Hello, Don. What's on your mind today? Don, are you there?
Hi, Mike. I have on my mind about, I live in Russia 6 months of the year. I have residence there, but with the terrorism, the Muslims there, I've studied that for years. But last winter, I was shocked. Studying Muhammad had a very honorable background and a marriage, but he leading the camel caravans for Jewish merchants learned the Torah. The Jewish Orthodox, when I travel, I'm in Russia spring and fall.
Yeah.
But, in the airports and on the airplanes, the Jewish reciting the Torah.
Yes.
Well, Muhammad quotes mentions Moses 157 times.
Yes.
If you read Numbers chapter 31, you will find the basis for founding a murder cult. Moses, you know
Okay,
the
our phones
story
keep
of Moses.
dropping out
Yeah?
for some reason. Are you still there, Don?
You know the story of I'll try again. Yes, I am. About the story of Moses. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Moses, after 40 years of living with the Midianites, as he escaped after he murdered an Egyptian, he escaped there, and the high priest of Midian made him a shepherd over his flock and gave him his oldest daughter. But when 40 years later, Egypt, he figured it was safe, and that's when he led the 12 tribes out, and they went to Midian, and Moses used the women corrupting the men as a reason to exterminate his wife's nation. And they came to him. This is
You're talking about the Benjamites.
31. They came to him. Pardon?
Said you're talking about the Benjamites?
No, the Midianites, Moses' wife's nation.
Okay.
And
all right.
When Moses took the 12 tribes out of Egypt,
Don, I hate to do this.
The women.
Yeah, Don, I hate to do this to you, but your phone line keeps dropping out and we're losing a lot of what you're saying. So I'm going to have to let you go and you can try calling back in. Meanwhile, we're going to go to James in Vancouver. Hello, James. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yes, good talking to you. I just wanted to say before I forget, happy 4th of July, because I hear it's being canceled in some places.
Yeah, they're closing the beaches in Los Angeles, and fortunately, none of that applies to here in Indiana. And I got a car full of fireworks I'm going to have fun with.
Okay. Well, anyway, I just wanted to make the comment that television changed a lot just after the assassination of John F. Kennedy. I don't know if you remember that, but before the Kennedy assassination in the years 1960, 61, 62, we had really good TV shows that were really entertaining, and they concentrated on issues that were really serious about society and such.
Yeah.
And after the Kennedy assassination, we got sitcoms.
Yes.
Remember that?
I remember.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, now one of the TV shows that affected me most when I was a child, or influenced me most, was science fiction theater. Do you remember
it? Yeah, I remember that one.
It was brilliantly done. Anyway, there was one episode called The Strange Lodger. And I looked it up the other day on IMDb, whatever.
Yeah.
And what they said was... It had to do with, in that was a McCarthy era and the John Birch Society, and so you had the government snooping around. But the whole theme of the show was about teleportation.
Yes.
The fantastic British actor Cyril Delevanti played an alien who used his television set. He converted it for teleportation. It was a brilliantly done show, and it had nothing to do with politics. I mean, the government, this fellow who was doing tracking of people who were, what shows they watched. They detected a signal on Channel 84, but there was no Channel 84.
Yes,
but it was this fellow who came down from a spacecraft and was sending messages back to the spaceship. And in the end, when they tried to catch him, he teleported himself via his television back to the spacecraft. It was a brilliant show.
Well, there was an episode on The Outer Limits that was along the similar lines, although
Yes.
It didn't involve television. It involved an AM radio transmitter. Anyway, listen, we're going to let you go here. Thank you very much for the trip down memory lane, and we're going to switch to Tom in Florida. Hello, Tom. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, hey, Michael, how are you today? Good day. Michael, listen, I just got to, I want to get this off what I got to say. I want to repudiate and muzzle that guy Mitchell from Memphis yesterday, calling me out about my citizenship. If I am a citizen of this country, I'm under this flag, I'm under this Constitution. And I tell you, I think Mitchell needs to look up the definition of what is a citizen. The citizen is of this country, okay? Gives me the capacity, okay, to protest, to get and have the right to say what I want to say about my government. It gives me the capacity for all citizens who are citizens of this country to argue against their government when their government is wrong, Mitchell. So you're wrong. And I am a citizen. My family's been in this country since 1828. They came here in 1828, Mitchell. So my family's been here a long time in this country. They pioneered this country, okay? Like I said yesterday, there's pioneers and there's pussies. And I don't know why I can't call me out as not being a citizen. I am a citizen, Michael. But I want to get that off, no problem. But here's another problem I have with our friend Dustin. Dustin's telling me that I'm basically a liar, saying that Anglos are not the majority of the country anymore. Well, I got something to tell you, Dustin. Yes, we are. We're 62% of the population, the Northern White European culture. The Germans are number one. There's 18% of the American public in this country, in the United States of America, Dustin, are German. The next biggest group that came out of Europe, Dustin, is the Irish. The Irish are right now around 15% of the total population of the United States, Dustin. The number 3 population in this country are the English. And actually, the English, Michael, a lot of people, Americans, don't call themselves English subjects.
Yes.
So what's really strange is when you combine the English Protestants with people who would say they're Americans, it comes about the same as the Irish. But the Germans are the number 1 most populated people in the United States. And I just want that to get off my chest with Dustin, because Dustin's telling me, oh, no, they're not. Well, Dustin, you live in a state called New Jersey where you vote all Democrat, and your whole state, okay, maybe you don't have the majority of Anglos in your state of New Jersey, or if you do, maybe the women. When I think Dustin was meaning, Michael, I think he was meaning, I want to get on Seattle in a minute. I think Dustin meant as well, the white women are not voting with the white men. I think that's what he was trying to say yesterday to me and your listening audience, that and so the bottom line is that, the bottom line is Dustin's wrong. And here he again goes saying that what he's saying is nonsensical. Who is the majority, Dustin, of this country, Dustin? When he calls in, I want him to give me that answer. I just gave him the answer. The Germans, the Irish, the English, the French, the Italians, they are the majority of this country. And the Polish, and then the last group, I believe, was the Dutch. There's like 2-3% Dutch in this country, but they're all Northern Europeans and Spanish. In Spain, people don't realize when they say Hispanic, the Hispanic Spanish, the people who live in Spain, Dustin, are white Northern Europeans. Dustin, the Hispanic are white Europeans. I hate to tell them that, but you don't want to believe it. It's true. But they don't want to say that. No, they're not Latinos. The Latinos came out of Rome, Dustin. They're Hispanic out of Hispaniola, which is Spanish. The Italians were the Roman. The Latins were Romans. Okay, so Dustin needs to get that straight. Don't tell me that I'm wrong about who's the majority in this country. The white Northern Europeans are 62% of the population. If you don't believe it, let him look on his computer and figure it out. Now, and then the Afro-Americans are 13% of the population, Dustin. Okay? So, getting back, I'm glad I got that off my chest, because, Dustin calls in with all this nonsense. Oh, well, no, you're not. Tom's wrong, Michael. The Anglos are not the majority of the country. Well, yes, we are. Yes, we absolutely are. And
I just checked it on Wikipedia, and they're saying non-Hispanic whites are the majority group in this country at 60%. And the others fall off very, very rapidly. And we need to keep that in mind. We need to remember, certainly around this part of Indiana, German Americans just dominate. And,
thank you, Michael. And, I don't know where Dustin's coming from, Mike. I don't know where he's coming from. What really bothers me with Dustin is, and he, for months he's been saying the media is a bunch of liars. Now all of a sudden the mask, you got to have the mask. People calling in, they understand. People are not stupid on your show, Michael. Like you say, you got the smartest audience in the world, I think.
Yes.
I mean, that includes Dustin. And that includes Dustin. I'm not putting anybody down. But when they call me out, I'm going to call them out back. Okay? That's just the way it is. Now, what I want to say, Michael, today, finally, that mayor, you know why that mayor took down that CHOP deal in Seattle? Because they were ready to go to her house and protest.
Yes.
That's the only reason she did that. And the governor said, hey, probably the governor of Washington probably told her, hey, you better look, they're coming for you next. So, this is all hypocritical, filthy lies. And, Trump needs to come out with a new slogan. America first. He needs to say, America. He needs to say something about America. We need America without tyranny or communism will end up leading into tyranny. He has to come up with a better slogan because, Michael, what all this is communist takeover.
How about free America?
Okay, great. Free America from, I like that, Michael. Free America from communist tyranny. How's that?
Well, brevity is the soul of wit, and I think just free America gets the message across.
Okay, I like that. Free America from this leftist communist tyranny. Okay, something like that.
Or make America free, which is sort of a play on his original slogan back in 2016.
Okay, I like it. Like I say, this is what the communists are doing in this country. The Bolsheviks are tyranny. This was tyranny, and it's insanity. And Michael, it's all about the Constitution. Our Constitution is they're trying to rip the Constitution. Matter of fact, I got a sticker that said the Constitution is the lifeblood of the American patriot. Liberty is her child, and she is your birthright. Defend her with your last breath. For without freedom, democracy shall forever suffocate beneath the dredge of tyranny. And that's exactly what they're trying to do with the leftists, the Bolsheviks, the Antifa, Black Lives Matter. They're trying to smother us with this lie, this filthy lie. And they're the minority. They're not the majority. The majority, you just said it. And I hope everybody's listening on your show. The Anglo-Northern Europeans are the majority. And when our women vote with us, we usually win any election. We win in a massive landslide. But the thing is, they use the women who uses their heart, not their brain. The men in England, most of the men use their brain, and the women are using their emotion, the heart. Not all. And I'm saying things are changing. God bless the women in this country for waking up to a lot of this the tyranny, the I don't know what you call the word, dredge, whatever you call it. They're smothering us with their evil lies, the media. So, and one more thing, Michael, that guy Matt Drudge is going totally off the LGBTQ, man. That guy's a total LGBTQer, man. That Matt Drudge. That guy's a freak show. I seen him down where I'm not going to mention, but I've seen him a few times. I've seen him in person.
Yes.
He's a real freak show. Let me tell you, I met the guy. He's a freak show. Drudge. I'll tell it to his face. I should have told that day I saw him. I didn't want to say that. I was trying to hold my, keep my powder dry. But now that I see what he's doing, this guy's filthy. That Drudge, filthy. He's a filthy hypocrite. That's what he is. I'll tell it to his face if I ever run across him again. He's a filthy hypocrite. But anyway, Michael, I just got to get that off my chest. And yes, to your one caller, Mitchell, I am an American citizen, and I hope to goodness that you feel that you are under our flag. One flag, one God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I do still believe in the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. I believe in my flag, and I believe for all the millions and millions of men who went to battle for our freedom to speak what we have to speak, with our First Amendment and our Second Amendment. For with the gun, you are a citizen. Without the gun, you will be the subject. And if you don't believe it, look at Venezuela, and look at Cuba, and look at China, and look at Hong Kong. So that's all I got to say, Michael, basically. And I hope our great caller, Miles, calls in today, because I like to really hear what he's got to say, because he's a great caller. We need more guys like Miles calling this show, man. He's one of the great ones. You have a bunch of other great guys out there calling.
Well, Tom, we're going to let you go because we're running out of time.
Michael, I don't want him. I hope Dustin refudiates me on the numbers of who's in the majority in this country.
Dustin's waiting. We're going to get to him really, really quick here. But first, we're going to go to Mark in California. We're going to go to Mark in California. Hello, Mark. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike. Excuse me. First of all, welcome. Welcome back to the mainland, man. I haven't called in probably over a year.
Yes.
I'm not calling to really say I told you so, but when you said that we were we might go down with the Soviet-style collapse, and I said no, we're not. It's gonna be a lot of broken windows, a lot of bloodshed, a lot of spray paint and stuff like that. And well, here it is. But I'm not really calling about that. And real quick, we'll get Dustin out of the way. In New Jersey, he might feel good about this. As far back as a month ago, I don't know if it's Common Core education or or I don't know what it was, but purely for research purposes, I would call this phone sex site. And a month ago, my
I've used that
favorite phone
excuse
sex
too,
site.
just so you know.
Oh, okay, good. I don't know if you call it the same one, but a month ago, the phone sex site wouldn't talk to me anymore because I wasn't wearing a mask. So here you go, Dustin. I'm like, but I'm on the phone, and they're like, we're sorry, Mr. Lew, you know. So I really hope he feels good about that one, and I'm not going to do much more about the mask thing. Well, actually, the mask really goes into the gun control thing.
Yes.
I am the situation in St. Louis with this the McCluskey family.
Yes.
You know, this could get me in trouble, and this also goes out to the. I'll round it back out to the white supremacy thing, or the calls that came in last week while you were gone. One or two people were very, very. They sound very, very upset or very anti-black or whatever, and I just want to say, as a black person, well, I'm black, Puerto Rican, Jew. I'm like a real minority here, especially in Los Angeles. Even though I'm born and raised here, and I'm really immersed in a car culture, which means I'm very, very close to the Hispanic culture. Although to hear me speak Spanish, I sound more white than Biden. I'm terrible, but I'm honest about it, you know. And I think, you know, that's the one thing I could bring to the table. But I want to tell people that for me, black and kind of a outspoken sort of sometimes conservative, you know, I'm a convicted felon. It doesn't matter to me. It's like I still pay my taxes, and I have an opinion, even though it's not heard or, you know, it's not valued. I have a right to think, and that's what puts me or people like me in more danger than anyone because of the whole groupthink mentality. When I see that mob descend on that person's house, I don't care if it was a shack or a mansion, he had every right to do what he did and even go beyond that. And I'm shaking when I sit here because the fact that I could be in trouble just for saying that and defending him is not cool. And but it doesn't mean that I'm gonna sit here and just, like, you know, cower forever, because right is right, wrong is wrong. And I've been saying this since the Obama administration, that there's this wave of this weird, like, multicolored Nazism. You know, it's like the Nazis are the one who's accusing everyone of being Nazis. And now they're not wearing swastikas, they're wearing rainbow hair and skinny jeans and everything else. And you know, it's like, so, and this can be rounded back out to Dustin in New Jersey. If this coronavirus had not ever taken place, the man on his lawn who had to defend his homestead with his brave wife, if anyone out there had been wearing masks, it would have been a lot more easy to distinguish, you know, their mischievous or what I would consider the completely felonious intentions. And you know what I'm saying? I mean, my problem with the mask, other than the health thing and the whole capitulation and all that, is I used to associate those masks with, you know, Antifa or people trying to disguise themselves. And so now it's like I have to get used to everyone in a disguise. You know, that you know what I'm saying? Because I'm telling you, know, I don't know what's going to happen because you know, I know Sun Tzu, the whole thing about control your anger, control your emotion when it comes to battle or whatever. Yeah. It's just, you know, I'm a combat veteran of LA. I'm not,
Yeah.
you know, I've never enlisted, and so you know, props out to anyone who puts on a uniform and goes towards gunfire. I've had the
Okay.
foxhole just thrown on me, you
Okay,
know, literally just out of nowhere. So, okay, I'm sorry. Well,
Yeah,
no, give me this, man.
I gotta let you go.
Okay, give me a
I gotta
commercial,
let you go.
but
We're almost out of time. We're loaded up on calls. I'm not going to be able to get to everybody. I'm sorry, but we are going to talk to Dustin in New Jersey. Dustin, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Is there a bullseye on my back?
Well, you pick your own wardrobe.
Mike, the penis is good. No, wait, the gun is good, the penis is bad. What movie was that from?
Zardoz.
Exactly. Tom, you watch too much Stardust. Mike, you know, Mike, I'm a human being. Black, white, pink polka dot, don't matter. Color don't matter. You know, we're all good or we're all bad, you know? Mike, I'm going to get us off my chest with the whole mask thing. This is multiple callers. Multiple from Arizona. Hate to tell you, go look at the rate of transmission. I told you, RT.live, Mike. You know that site. That's a legitimate site that shows you the rate of transmission going on in each state. Tom, Mark from North Carolina, Arizona, Texas, Alabama, you guys are in trouble. I mean, what don't you get? You know, I mean, it's I still don't understand what the problem is with. I got to close my house, so I got to wear the mask. Well, you knew you got to wear a mask before you went to come on, man. Like, where happened to common sense? Mike, I don't understand. What happened to common sense? Like, aren't we all one group to protect each other and love each other? Well, I'm not going to wear a mask.
But we're not seeing a whole heck of a lot of that in the streets of America.
Well, Mike, you know what the problem is? Again, with this virus, because I think you know this. In Australia, they had to close that area called Victoria down.
Yes.
And Sebastian from Sweden knows about herd immunity. We all know herd immunity don't work. The callers who used to call in here kept pushing that. And YouTube doctors and this or that. That was all bogus. The whole mask don't work is bogus. Masks work to a percentage. So does staying away from, you know, a certain distance from people, a couple feet, who knows how many feet. You know, I don't know. We don't know anything about this virus, but for people to call in, Mike, I noticed a lot of people treating this as a joke. It's not a, how do you know it's not, I mean, it's not a, I mean, I don't know what's going on, but you can't treat this as a joke. I don't understand why people think this is a joke.
I don't think they think it's a joke. I think they're just tired of it all. And you know, there's
Mike, I'm tired of it. But you know what? The virus is not tired of us. You know what I mean? Like Mike, I love you and your wife, but I don't want you to get sick.
Well, I don't want to be sick either. Dustin, I got to let you go. We're at the end of the show. We've run out of time, and I apologize to the callers who were waiting online. Please call in tomorrow. Stay tuned for John Stadmiller. I'm sure he's got lots of interesting things to share with you. Spread the word rather about RBN. Spread the word about whatreallyhappened.com. Please donate. We need your help. See you tomorrow. Aloha, America.